Hey everybody, it's my child bride's birthday today. Won't mention how old she is because I don't want my butt beat tonight. We're going to make some French potatoes, we're going to grill some ribeye steaks, and we're going to make some beef marrow bones as an appetizer to spread on some bread. I won't be videoing the ribeye steaks because, first of all, it's butt cold outside, and also it's pitch dark and the video won't take it. So one of the things I wanted to explain about the French potatoes, that's what we call it, I don't know what it's actually called, is we got some spuds out of the garden that we're storing. You need Boursin cheese. Now you gotta watch out, this can be really expensive. I believe we find it at Sam's Club, priced a little bit better. It can be anywhere from $3 for one of these to almost $7. You need some heavy cream, pepper, salt, and just a little bit of butter to help clean the pan at the end of it so it don't quite stick. And we're going to slice the potatoes down. It's kind of like a casserole, and then we're going to bake it, and it is Alright, so now we're getting ready to slice the potatoes. The child bride says that this is better with red potatoes, and we grew some Pontiac Reds. Some of them aren't ugly, so you know we're not buying them in the store. This comes straight out of the garden. So we're using a Cuisinart food processor, and I'm using the one that sits up a little bit so when it slices it falls down in there. You can also use a mandolin, or if you've got some serious knife skills, maybe even just a very nice knife. One of the things I want to mention is our food processor is old. So there's a couple things wrong with it, so don't call OSHA on me. So first we put this together, we throw a couple of the potatoes in here, and I've got it set to where it runs automatically, and you just put this down and bam, you've got potatoes. Alright, so let me just do a couple more here real quick, and then I'll show you how we layer them in the pan. We're using, I don't know, about a 9 by 13, 8 by 12, whatever the standard size is. Alright, so then you just pull this out, take this off, and we like to throw them on a little paper towel, and we pat them down a little bit. It removes some of the starch. Alright, now I've got all the potatoes sliced. I've patted them dry. It helps remove the starch, like I said earlier. And what I will be doing is I put down the first layer, and after that I put a little salt and pepper on it, and then I will put, and I'm not going to have you watch me do every layer, but then I'll put 2 more layers on and salt and pepper again. So basically what we do is salt and pepper every other layer. And also I wanted to mention that I did butter the baking dish, I guess is what you call it. I buttered it, and that just helps it from sticking to the bottom and makes it a little easier. Watch out, they're real potatoes. They came out of the garden, so every once in a while you got a bad one. So quickly you just put these in, and then you throw on some pepper. I'm a pepper freak, but I gotta watch it for the child bride. She's not quite as peppery as I am. And then a little salt. And then after that, like I said, I'm going to put a couple more layers in to do the salt and pepper again, and I'm going to continue until this is full. I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I've got my pan filled up. No matter how many layers you have, you finish off with a little as the fancy folks on TV see, a little S&P. And then from there, I will show you how to make the sauce for it. And what we're using for the sauce is just heavy whipping cream and Boursin cheese. One of the things that I forgot to mention is I'm preheating my oven to 425 degrees, and that's what it bakes on. It's a pretty high heat, but nonetheless really good. One thing other I'd like to mention is as soon as I get my Dream stove, that'll be great, but right now I'm dealing with this electric stove and I can't stand it, but it is what it is. So I got this on a little bit hot, in between medium low and medium. You don't want to scorch it, the cream. So one of the things I do is I open up the cheese, I pour in a little cream, and this is actually 1 pint. And it's 1 pint for every cake that you do. So if you make a monster pan of this or a couple of them, it's basically a pint of heavy cream to every cake of the Boursin. And one thing also, we use the garlic and fine herbs. You can use anything you want, you know, so it's all to your flavor. So I just kind of dump this in here. And then I grab a spoon, my trusty wooden spoon, and start breaking it up. And basically all you gotta do is to get it to where the cheese breaks down and it's all, you know, integrated with the cream. And then once we do get this going, we will pour it over the whole top of the potatoes, and it'll seep down through there, and then we'll put it in the oven for, I believe, I gotta check with the child bride, but I believe it goes in for 45 minutes with a aluminum foil top. Then we check it, and if we need to pull the top off to brown it on the top a little bit, we do. If it's browning, we leave the aluminum foil on, but to be honest with you, I don't know that we've ever left the aluminum foil on. I think we always end up pulling the aluminum foil off to give it a nice crusty top. You know, if you wanted to get real fancy, you could have saved some of the Boursin out, crumbled it on the top. I don't know, we're a little simpler than that. We're down to where it is melted. You might have a few lumps in it. The Queen of England ain't coming over for dinner, but it is the child bride's birthday, so if you got a few lumps in there, that's just bonus bites for the guy who gets it, you know, gets a bite of that extra cheese. Now, what we're going to do here is all I do is pour it over the top. Ooh, there's some good lumps of cheese in there. Might have pulled this off a little tad early, but that's alright. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. Alright. So I got that. Made a mess. And as my buddy John Knowles says, if you ain't making a mess, you ain't doing it right. So we're making a little bit of a mess here. Alright, so all I'm going to do now is cover it with some aluminum foil, put it in the oven for about 45 minutes, and with the magic of time, we'll come back and check it, and we'll look at it at that point, decide whether or not we're pulling off the aluminum foil, and then we'll go from there. Alright, going to get me some hot pads out. Through the miracle of time, we are ready to check the taters. It's been 45 minutes. And ooh, hot. Alright, well they definitely need to be uncovered because you can see that they're not brown. So what we'll do is we'll put them back in there so they brown back up. And it'll go in for another 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I'll check it at about 30, and we'll be back then. All right, one of the things, and I was going to do 2 separate videos, but we're just going to incorporate them both together. We're going to do a little appetizer because it's the bride's birthday. We're going to do beef marrow bones. Little fancy schmancy thing from Europe. And we're going to roast these. And then we're going to take some ciabatta bread. And we're just going to grill that in a cast iron skillet. There's not going to be a whole lot of time devoted to these. But they're going into the oven. They're going to roast for about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more. And then once these are done, then you take the marrow out, spread it on the bread. And some people put toppings on that, you know, like a green salad or an olive tapenade or anything like that. But we're just going to try it just plain and simple. We've never made these before. We don't know how it's going to turn out. But we'll let you know. One thing I did learn via YouTube is you always put the big side down. Other than the fact that they're more stable, I really don't know why. So, gonna put them in the oven now. Gonna leave them in there for about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more, and we'll pull them out and take a look at them. See you then. Alright, so we have went another 45 minutes on the potatoes, and they are done. Let me get another hot pad so I don't burn myself. A little funny thing that you didn't see before we turned the camera on. My wife is talking to one of her daughters because it's her birthday, and we had to screen quiet on the set because she was making so much noise in the background. Look at that golden brown, man. That is really good. We're going to let them cool off a little bit before we take a taste test on them. And here comes out the marrow bones. These are ridiculous. Look at that. You can see the fat in the bottom of it. You can actually use that for some flavoring on some other dishes if you wanted to save it, or you can throw it away, whatever. But the marrow inside of there is going to be freaking good. Going to grill some bread in a cast iron skillet here in a little bit. We'll come back to you when we start dishing some stuff up. I'm out actually grilling the ribeyes at this point, and we're gonna have dinner here in a couple of minutes. Baby boy right now is grilling up the ciabatta bread. We pulled the steaks off, and we'll be eating momentarily. Time out. All right, this is baby girl's birthday dinner. Couldn't record the steaks because it's pitch dark outside and like 0 degrees. These are the French potatoes, and this is the ciabatta bread. Now you can't see the marrow on there, just because it's a clear. And like I said earlier, some people put tapenade and greenery and all that on it. We're not quite that fancy. The steak, it looks delicious. It's perfectly charred on the outside. We're a super rare family, so when I cut this open, it may moo a little bit. So anyway, that's what we had for dinner. And I'm getting pointed from the peanut gallery. Oh, okay, these are the marrow bones. When they're done, I dug out some of the marrow there. And here's the potatoes. Cut me a square out, and pretty much that's it. And this is what we're having for my child bride's birthday dinner. And one other thing I can show you is thumbprint cookies bought at the store, but it's better than birthday cake to the bride. She loves these thumbprint cookies. So anyway, happy birthday, Mama. And
In case you all
We're out.
were wondering, the lottery dogs also get their own marrow bones.
happy birthday, Mama.